if we haven't chatted before, I'm our program coordinator. So I'm heavily involved in the recruiting and program execution of our Elevate program, which you guys know as the SEAL program. But I work specifically here in Indianapolis in our Broad Ripple HQ and support about 10 to 12 different clients, one of them being the state of Indiana. So I'll kick it over to Mackenzie. Mackenzie, would you give your intro?
Yes. Hello, everyone. It's great to virtually see all the faces on here. Um, a big thank you too for your interest in the program. I know Tori has mentioned that our pipeline is strong, and I wish that I could say we have a ton of opportunities available right now, but we're going to kind of talk through timing and everything on this call. But I'm Mackenzie. I am the account manager that supports the state of Indiana. So I help run our state earn and learn program through our Elevate model, which is, like Tori said, the associate level hiring. Essentially, I am here more from a strategic layer of support. So I'm actually the one that's kind of going out and meeting with the various stakeholders and business relationships to help build this program. So again, thank you all for your interest. This is an extremely unique program that we're excited to be a part of. So looking forward to diving in on it.
Cool. Mackenzie, do you want to touch on who Brooksource is, and then I'll touch on Elevate?
Absolutely. So to Tori's point, Brooksource, we are actually headquartered here in Indianapolis in Broad Ripple, for those of you that are familiar with the area. Um, we are a IT talent and consulting partner. So what we do is we basically help all the way from high level project support to contract to hire based needs for about 12 different clients here in the area. We do have office locations coast to coast, but Tori and I both work directly with the clients and relationships here in Indiana.
Cool. And then Elevate is our associate level hiring model that we use across the board with all of our clients. So it is always kind of unique with each company we're working with. So Seal being a version of Elevate. I know you're learning about like so many different names today, but Seal is our workforce transformation program specific to the state of Indiana. So Seal stands for State Earn and Learn. Elevate is basically the platform we use internally that gives us the ability to staff associate level, but also support from a program lens with the technical training and professional development that we'll talk through. So on to the next slide here. We covered a lot of this. I know a lot of you have heard about and actually learned about SEAL through, stuff I've sent you via email, the website for the state of Indiana, also word of mouth. So most people before you come here are pretty familiar, I guess, with the general idea of SEAL. We have some past place skill sets on this. We'll talk through our current rotation and current placements. That'll help you get a better idea of what to expect for upcoming hires. But with that technical training piece, a big chunk of the SEAL program is studying and learning for certifications while you're on the job. That's included in your workday. So we did include some different paths of certifications that we've had in the past. Mackenzie, do you mind talking through our current consultants and then also the general certification path that those people have received this go around?
Yes, absolutely. And to Tori's point too, this workplace learning model, the initiative is a skills-based hiring approach. So for those of you that have had exposure within IT, that's incredible and that's great. But this is an opportunity to get your foot in the door. To Tori's point, to provide you with that training. A big portion of why our customers are using this is so we can help upskill and retain talent. So how we do that is through different certification paths to give you an opportunity to really apply your skills and advance yourself and set yourself up well within your career. So right now, our focus is more on the operations side. So you would get exposure to hardware and software support, so desktop specifically, PC refresh and installation, deployment. So a lot of like refreshing different agencies and things along those lines. And then from a software perspective, you're able to work directly with like tier one or help desk support. So what that means is you're more customer facing over the phone, helping with remote access and troubleshooting that way. Um, And then in between, we do have an opportunity with working at IoT. You'd obviously have a ton of collaboration with outside groups because the state's IoT or Indiana Office of Technology, where this specific team sits out of, they are basically the technology hub for Indiana. So all state agencies work with them. So I say that of like, while these are some of the skill sets that we place, you will have exposure and collaboration to many different teams such as security, disaster recovery, etc. That if there is not an opportunity to place you in, you would at least have the ability to work with them and work towards a position like that if that is of interest to you.
Yeah, I'll talk through the certification path. So, typically when we bring people on, if you have no certifications, the general standard is CompTIA A plus, Net plus, Sec plus.
Yep.
But with the reach of and interest of the SEAL program, we have started people who do have certification. So we take that into consideration when building out your training. We've had some people this go around study for like CYSA, different cloud certifications. So we can get tailored specifically to your desired career goals, but also what the teams could potentially be with the state of Indiana. So that's skill sets and certification paths. I think this slide's really cool just to talk through. I think to Mackenzie's point, the SEAL program is pretty unique. We don't work with a lot of hiring managers that are open to bringing people in who have no education or experience in the industry. So this one's very unique as there's no education or degree requirements. I have a little like asterisk beside this in my brain because I do think in the interview process for SEAL, it's important to have interest and either self-studies or something along the lines related to IT. So that could be self-studying for CompTIA A plus. It could be starting classes at Ivy Tech, interest or personal projects that you're doing, whether it's like tearing down a PC in your home. So anything like that as like exposure or interest in IT, generally you do better in the interview process. So like I said, there's no specific like you need a bachelor's degree to do this. But interest and some sort of exposure to IT is helpful. This is paid on the job training too. So it's not an internship. You're working full time, 40 hours per week, but you're learning on the job. And that includes study time for the certifications. The study time for the certifications is through our online learning management system. You might hear it called LMS. That's basically what it stands for, Learning Management System. We specifically use Pluralsight. Um, the professional development and networking opportunities are unique to this program too. So we build out a lot of customized networking opportunities for you, both on the Brooksource side and the IoT side. And then we do have a professional accelerator that you'll work through when you're placed in the role. We have it kind of gamified, but it's a fun opportunity to grow both technically and professionally. We meet with all people placed in the program at least once monthly, if not more. So that's the mentorship and guidance that you're getting from our side. And then the team at the state of Indiana also gives you very hands-on support from both that career guidance and development. Past consultants have got or have the ability to use their certifications and experience for credits for things like Ivy Tech. So that's something we can help you work through with your academic advisor if that's of interest. Mackenzie, anything you would add to that side?
I think the biggest thing is just emphasizing the willingness to learn. That's the biggest piece I think with this is there's a lot of people and resources that are available to you throughout this. So people that are interested in getting their foot in the door, like I said, with IT, this is an awesome opportunity to get paid to study and work towards some of those certifications. We do, as in Brooksource, pay for up to 3 certifications while you're on the program. So like Tori said, this is customized to you, but it is a really exciting opportunity to advance yourself in your career to set you up well for success.
I want to mention one thing here too with the no degree or experience requirement. SEAL program is very unique to helping you get your foot in the door to IT. We do have people reach out a lot of times that have a bachelor's degree. And they're like, hey, I'm looking for my first job right out of a bachelor's degree. This program could be a fit for you, but I don't think it's like the best fit for you. We have a lot of other Elevate programs here locally in Indianapolis that do have a requirement for a 4-year degree that are entry level. So if that's you on this call and you're interested in hearing about more than just the SEAL program, definitely let me know and I can get with you to give you even more options too of clients we work with here locally. All right, so this one's a fun one to talk through. We get questions a lot with, hey, you're not looking for any technical experience or education. So what are you looking for? Um, I always say it comes down to attitude and aptitude. I know that's listed here on the slide. When we're talking to you, we're really gauging like we want people who are excited to be there. We want people who really show their passion for what they're wanting to do, but their willingness, to Mackenzie's point, and the desire to go with the state. The state's kind of unique. I personally say it's not a fit for everybody. So talking through like the why behind why you want to work for the state of Indiana and how you can see yourself growing long term there. A few others, just quick hitters. Professionalism's obviously a big piece of it. We want people who are going to be professional when they're showing up to work. That means not being late for meetings. If you missed your interview with us, it's probably not a good sign of your professionalism. And then communication too is huge. So people who can communicate both written and verbally is a big part of our process. Anything you would add to that, Mackenzie?
No.
Cool. All right. Logistics here. Mackenzie, do you want to hit on logistics for the SEAL program?
Yes. So like I mentioned before, with working directly with the stakeholders that are in the hiring process and everything with this, know that this is something that can be subject to change. I say that we have hired over 57 resources, which is super exciting, but each class has looked just a little bit differently, whether it's skill sets, certifications, managers, etc. So going off of what we do know, and we're kind of working towards, is it will likely be a similar rotation model to what we're doing right now. So it's about 4 rotations every 13 weeks, with a couple of weeks in between for like orientation and then conversion. So like I said, that'll give you opportunity to work with a bunch of different teams, get a bunch of different exposure, which is really cool. But then ultimately the goal is to be placed full-time into one of those opportunities. So it's a roughly 12-month contract to hire. And I say roughly 12 months because candidly, it could be a little bit longer solely due to when the state hits their budget cycle. So we are very transparent with you on what this would look like, but I just like to be very honest and say it could be 13 to 14 months. Throughout the contract period, though, you do have benefits, dental, vision, and health, as well as a paid time off policy, which incorporates about 6 federal holidays as paid time off too. Upon that conversion, you would then be a full-time state employee with IoT. So those benefits and everything would kick in a little bit different. Compensation rate, everyone is paid the same. That is something that has been consistent. So it's 18 an hour while on the contract. And then, like I said, depending on where you ultimately end up, there are different salary ranges. So anywhere from about 49,000 to 60,000, roughly speaking, is where you could ultimately land an opportunity for. It is a 40-hour work week. So Monday through Friday, there are flex hours, so you can come in at 7:30 if you want to leave at 3:30 or whatever works for you in your life. The state is very flexible with time. Once you are converted, though, what's cool is the full-time work week is 37 and a half hours. So there's definitely some flexibility and pros of working with the state due to their ability to pay some time off and things like that we don't have. And then paid on the job training, to Tori's point. We typically have you set up a couple days. I believe it's 2 days a week is typically the average that resources will get to be able to actually dedicate study time. And then the other 3 days is more paired shadowing, hands-on work, etc., that will allow you to actually apply the skills that you're learning.
One quick note, I know a lot of you have the job description and logistics already, but this is a position where you need to be on site. So having reliable transportation and being able to commute to downtown Indianapolis are two key pieces. I know that doesn't work for everybody, so I always like to mention it. People ask about remote opportunities. There could be remote opportunities available to work hybrid some days, but I would say in general, and especially getting going, it's going to be a fully on-site position. You do get a badge to get into parking, so it's not something where you would be paying for parking downtown yourself. I think somebody's making some noise. If you wouldn't mind just muting yourself until we're done with the presentation, we'll get to questions here in a second. So expectations
I
for,
don't think your things
I don't know.
shifted. Sorry.
Did it move to the next?
No, it didn't move for me.
Okay, let me stop sharing. I'll reshare.
And one thing with Tori's point too for on-site, if you're interested in just seeing how far away it is from you, it's 100 North Senate Avenue is the address, the government center buildings. And I will say some days that the commutes are a little bit longer. So reliable transportation, like she said, is definitely important to have, as a lot of this work will be on-site.
Does it have expectations
Yep.
at the top? Okay. So expectations, we will have a thorough interview process when we do have openings, and we'll get to that here in a second. The last note is compliance with the background check, drug screen, and fingerprinting, depending on team. So we do require that you're able to pass a background check and a drug screen upon employment. Okay, this is the fun part, everything everybody's been waiting for. Upcoming roles. So
Yep.
Mackenzie, I know you touched on potential upcoming roles being more operational focused. I think, that's always dependent on when the time comes that we're actually hiring too. So we'll keep everybody updated on specifically what the roles are or general ideas of what they will be and if they'll be rotational. Do you want to touch on the timeline?
Yep. So number of resources, we don't know how many there will be. This current class is 6. So I say this to encourage you that if this is something that you're extremely passionate about and the timeline works for you, I would encourage you to be consistent with Tori's pipeline and process. We'll talk through how to apply and all of those things. I say that as it is definitely a competitive interview process. So not to discourage you, like she said, there's other opportunities available, but with us probably looking around a similar amount of people, I just want to put that out there too. From a timeline perspective, our current resources are still on contract till at least the fall. So we will likely have those resources convert over and start the hiring and recruiting process around that time. So if I had to guess in government language, as we know, sometimes things do move a little bit slower at times. We will probably be actually starting our hiring initiatives in like September, October for the actual hiring interview process, etc. So Tori will continue to keep you all in the loop to the best of her ability, but the actual meeting with the hiring manager and personnel will be then. We will probably set up some sort of open house here in the fall as well at our HQ, so you can actually do a soft introduction and meet the hiring team too.
Yeah, in the past too, we've done first round phone screens. So that would be with a recruiter from our team. That's usually about 15 minutes. We'll do that early on, even before those interviews that Mackenzie was talking about. So step 1 will be a phone call with the recruiter when we have those openings and timeline available to us. Step 2 would then be an interview with our team. Last time we did those here on site in Broad Ripple at our HQ. And then step 3 would be the final round on-site interview with the team at the state. So that's kind of the timeline we would work with once we get those other pieces of information. Little fun picture of some past SEAL associates. I'll just leave this up here for a quick second, but I know it's always nice to see a testament of somebody that has done this program. So this is Shauna. She was on our help desk team. This is when we did hire specifically with certain teams. So she came in as a SEAL on the help desk team and converted with a SEAL on the or converted to a state employee on the help desk team. All right, this is our last slide, and we'll get to general questions. I know Mackenzie and I like to talk, so sorry for taking up a lot of time. But most of you are here today because you have already filled out that application for the SEAL program. Mackenzie is going to drop it in the chat. If you haven't filled that out yet, that would be how we'll stay in contact with you when we do get the green light to hire. We do review all those resumes of candidates, and we'll decide who we want to move on to those first round phone calls. From there, then we would decide, our team would meet and decide who to move on to those interviews at our HQ. And then our team would meet again to decide who we want to interview for the team at the state. Generally, this is general, so it could change. But if we have about 6 openings with the state of Indiana, about 12 to 15 people would interview for that or those positions. So that just gives you an idea of candidates that we would have interview. So that talks through here. If you want to take a shot of that or screenshot, whatever, that's our process. But number 1 is fill out that application. That's going to be how we stay in contact with you. All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. We'll give you guys the rest of the time. Questions are yours. So if you have a question, feel free to unmute yourself and ask. If you want to drop it in the chat, Mackenzie can pull that up too and keep tabs on questions in the chat.
I have a question.
Yeah, Rachel, go ahead.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask the full email for who we contact about the bachelor's degree.
Yeah, Mackenzie will drop that in the chat. That's my personal email, so you can reach out to me directly.
Thanks. Sorry, I'm Deppy.
Okay.
No, you're okay.
Can I ask the question?
Yes.
Okay. Last year I filled out this form, which you showed in the chat. Do I need to submit again this time?
As long as you filled out the 2024 application, that'll be the one we refer to this year.
Okay, got it. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, while I'm thinking about it too, I'm going to reiterate a few logistics. One, this is not an internship opportunity. It is a full-time work hours. Taking that into consideration, if you are a full-time student, we can work through together if any of us have phone calls of what that looks like from like a part-time school perspective, but we would need people who are able to work Monday through Friday full-time. Another one we get is we can't provide sponsorship. I know I've worked with some career advisors who are working with people on OPT. We can't provide sponsorship for this position. So keep that in mind. If that's something you are working through, I can definitely help and see if we have other clients that are hiring for people who need sponsorship or OPT. And then I think logistics, making sure those are okay with your family. I know I've talked to a lot of parents who have small kiddos. The state is like really flexible with work hours if you have childcare drop off or pickup or things like that. But keeping that in mind too, just making sure it matches up with your life. Sorry, I wanted to run through those 3 quick things real quick. Other questions?
I've got one.
Sorry,
Is there anything we need to do before enrolling? Anything else besides the application?
Good question. So I know you said enrolling, this is just me and my terms. It's not a program you can enroll in. There's an interview process with it being a position. So the only thing you need to do right now is fill out that application and we'll follow up with candidates when we do have openings. Great question though.
And just to reiterate, you said your openings are in September?
TBD, we expect probably late summer, early fall that we'll start the recruitment process. Keep in mind that can change. Government could let us know, that, hey, we need this sooner rather than later, and then we would start a process sooner. Or they could say, hey, it's going to be a little bit longer process, we'll start later. So it's all TBD, but if Mackenzie and I had to guess, it'd probably be late summer, or early fall.
Okay.
I have a quick question, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
You mentioned possibly being able to visit your guys' HQ there in Broad Ripple, kind of as a soft introduction. When would it be possible to do that? And can we get the address?
Yeah, good question. We don't have a date yet. We would send out an email to you when we do have something like that planned. We don't let people just visit anytime, usually unless you're interviewing or we have some sort of event. But we're in Broad Ripple, right beside the Vogue, if you're familiar with the area. But to Mackenzie's point, we would probably host some sort of event as we get closer to the hiring time frame, so late summer or early fall.
And to note on that too, the open house is definitely more so used to your advantage. It's not required, it's definitely optional, but a very casual opportunity for you to meet the whole hiring team.
Great question. Any others? No question is a bad question either. Yeah, Rachel.
As somebody who's already with the state of Indiana, do you prefer our communications through our personal email or with our state email?
Good question. I don't think it matters on our side too much. We just like you to keep reminding us that you are a state employee. There's some unique logistics with that. We do actually get quite a few state employees who hear the SEAL program and are interested. We usually loop in our team at the state to answer a lot of those questions. I know if you are a state employee now and you want to join, you would have to end your state employment and join as a contractor, which impacts then like your benefits, your pension and all that. So keep that in mind just as like 2 quick notes. But email, it doesn't matter, whichever one you prefer, as long as you just keep reminding us that you are a state employee, that'll be helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, Jordan.
Awesome. So I know you guys have placed a lot of security and system administration, and I was speaking with some individuals within the IoT, and they hadn't seen any like web development or application development placements. I don't, or it was the application development. Are you guys looking to get into those roles as well?
You want me to take this one?
Go ahead.
We've definitely explored that for sure. We've had previous placements specifically in like the low code, no code app dev space. That is definitely an area statewide that they are investing heavily in. So absolutely could be an opportunity. I know to give you some context, Salesforce is a CRM or customer relation management tool that they use. So definitely something that their chief executives are strategizing about.
Awesome. Thank you.
Also, yeah, you're welcome. This is a quick note too. I know we are not hiring as quickly right now with the SEAL program. If you meet qualifications from an IT background and see any job posting on the state website, feel free to apply to that, especially if you have a bachelor's degree. I know a lot of those do require a bachelor's degree, but another opportunity just if you guys have the experience and education to apply for those.
I have another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know you guys did say that the amount you guys have for the hiring process is roughly around 6 people. Would that be able to change, or is that just a number specifically? Okay.
Yeah, good question. That can change. So the state's fiscal year starts in summertime. So June, July timeframe is usually when they have a better idea of hiring capacity and power. So it could change.
And one more thing. What is beyond 6? What is the like limit you guys would have if you guys did have the amount of room you could hire?
No limit.
No limit. Okay.
All the state employees.
Yeah, we have had 35 resources on the program at one time. So candidly, it is just dependent on how much money the state has that can allocate towards the program and opportunities.
Okay. I appreciate that. Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Good question. Well, Mackenzie and I are running a little bit late to our next meetings, but we truly do appreciate all of you jumping on this call this afternoon. I know some people had to take lunches or things like that, so appreciate your flexibility and hopping on this. And we're excited. We are truly very excited for this process to get going. We're eagerly awaiting it just as much as you are. So know that we will be your advocates and support you throughout this process. But thank you all. Hope you have a good Friday, and we'll hopefully see you all soon.
Yes, thank you for your interest. And if anyone has a question that we didn't get to, feel free to drop it in the chat and either Tori or I can respond back. But big thank you on behalf of BrookSource for your interest in the program, and keep in touch.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.